Can you walk me through the process of how you create your sculpture?
Yes. So part of what is I look for, and sometimes I look for it, and sometimes it inadvertently makes its way into my work. So I think about pop culture. I think about different toys. I think about animation, like for instance, the candy nerds. I think about, different sort of, and so that kind of, starts to inspire some of the forms. Then I also think about, you know, us biomorphic objects. And so it depends on the piece. So sometimes I'll sketch it out. Sometimes I'll just start throwing on the wheel and exploring. So depending on the size of the pieces is what the method with which I make them. So if they're small, I will most likely wheel throw all the parts and then assemble them together. If they're larger, then I would probably coil build them and then maybe add some wheel thrown parts that are smaller. So it really depends on what I'm making. Sometimes if I really like the small version of the piece, then I can, scale it up and make a bigger version of it. Like the piece that you see behind me, that's that kind of white, beigey piece right there. That is made with both coil built parts and wheel thrown parts. So being a mom and just being busy, I've developed sort of a method of figuring out how I can build this piece the fastest. So depending on, how can I make this object appear as quickly as possible? So that's what I end up doing. Sometimes wheel throwing portions of the piece is really helpful in making it move along faster.
I love that. Shape Nation, if you are looking to try to speed up things, maybe try combining different techniques together. That way you can speed up the process and your idea can truly come to life. So now, earlier you mentioned that the one all be all tool that you use is the metal rib with the rigid. Can you explain to me how you used your metal rib?
Yes. So now, that clay molecules are flat, right? And they're slippery. So we use this process called score and slip, right? Which is, taught to it from the very beginning, right? So what I like to do is I like to scratch the surface, right? Which would be scoring before I attach another coil. And then, but if you've tried hand building, that with hand building, it can kind of go in and out, and it can kind of be lumpy and bumpy. That is something that I really disliked about hand built pottery because I loved the wheel. The wheel was my first love. I threw everything on the wheel. I loved symmetry. I loved how all the pieces came together. So for me, having this lumpy, bumpy business was like, oh, this is an amateurish type of thing. So the rib allows you to move the clay from the high points to the low points to fill in like that irregularity. And it's beautiful because after you're done, it really moves the clay. And so then it prevents cracking. And then once you smooth it out, which is, I suppose, my other favorite tool is the red mud tool. Not sponsored. They still haven't sent me a free rib. It really is amazing because the silicone rib really then allows you to smooth out that object. And then you get like this perfect, it almost looks wheel thrown, right? Because I don't know. What can I say? It's a flaw. So, but yes, I love smooth. I love smoothing things out. And so, yes, so that tool hands down allows me to really, really equalize the wall.
Absolutely.